Now, as we look at this, you're looking at the formula sheet, bottom left side. All right, you've got the spot where it says linear equations. You specifically see the formula where it says slope, and we've got m equals, and it says y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the first piece we're looking at. We identified this 2 weeks ago when we looked at how to find the slope between any 2 points. Does it matter which point is y1? Does it matter which point is y2? No, it doesn't. All right. Typically, they're just saying, oh, the first point given and the second point given. And we're looking at the x value of the first point is x1. The y value of the first point is y1. That's a y there. All right. And in the second point, we've got our x2 and our y2. All right. It's simply a way to identify which y values, which x values we're looking at. Okay. It doesn't matter which one's which. If you don't believe me, switch the points. Try it again. You'll get the exact same slope. The key is that you are consistent, all right? So if I'm using 97 here as my y2, I must use 29 as my x2. Those are both from the point 2, all right? So I'm going to use these to find my slope first. That is the very first thing you want to do when I say find the equation of a line between 2 points. You want to identify what the slope is first and use this formula to do it. We just fill in what we know. We know that the slope is, well, y2 is 97. Minus y1 is 52 over top of x2 is 29 minus x1 is 14. Take a moment and go ahead and do that. All right, if you did it correctly, you should have ended up with 45 on top and you should have ended up with 15 on bottom. And when I simplify 45 over 15, what does it reduce down to? 3. We find, using our slope formula, that the slope of the line that connects these 2 points is a slope of 3. In other words, a slope of 3 over 1. That means in our equation, we know that the equation is going to begin with y equals 3x plus b. We know the slope goes in front of x. What we don't know at this point is what the y-intercept is. However, as we saw last week, if we know the slope, which in this case is 3, and we know a point, in this case we've been given 2 points, we can use the slope and one of those points to determine the equation of this line. You could use the point slope formula for those that liked the point slope formula when we showed that last week. All right? Or you could use my preferred method. I just fill in one of the points in for x and y to solve for b. You can pick any point you want. Bree, what point do you want to use?
Any point I want.
Oh, any point of the 2 that are given. Don't blow this. This is a tough question.
This is not a tough question.
Pick
17.
You're going to go with points. 17 is not even one of ours. All right? Which one? Let's go Jordan. Which one you want to use, Jordan? 45. Let me just make it clear. Here's a point, and there's a point. I can pick one of those 2. You would pick the bigger one, wouldn't you? All right? I'm actually, all right, forget it. I'm going with my own gut here. We're going with the smaller one. I want smaller numbers. It's so much easier to deal with smaller numbers. But if you want to use 29 and 97, go for it. You'll get the same answer either way. It really doesn't matter. All right? But since I'm going to use 14 and 52, I'm merely going to plug in my y value of 52 equals my slope times my x value of 14 plus b. And we can solve that. If you chose to use 29 and 97, that is absolutely okay. It really does not matter. Either one will work. When we solve for b, we're going to multiply 3 times 14 and get 42. So 52 equals 42 plus b. All right, and then we are going to continue to solve for that by subtracting the 42 from each side. And if you used 29 and 97, you would have gotten the same result. You would have ended up with 29 times 3 was 87, subtracting the 87 from both sides. You would have ended up with 10 no matter which way you did this, because 10 is the value of b that makes this equation true. 10 is my y-intercept here. And at this point, I know my slope and I know my y-intercept, and some of you have been getting confused as to what to do next. You've been overthinking it. What to do next is not too hard. In fact, don't think too much about it. It's simply writing the equation and replacing the m that we usually have in that slope-intercept form and replacing the b that we usually have in the slope-intercept form with the values we know. When I say write the equation, it should always end like this. Y equals. All of the equations that we are writing here should start with y equals. There's one exception to that. It's a vertical line. We'll talk about that later. You're not doing that one on the test. All right? So as we look at this one here, all right, now I plug in my slope. Y equals mx, so in this case, 3x plus b. B in this case is positive 10, so we're going to write plus 10. And that's the equation of the line that connects the 2 points, 1452 and 2997.